friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time, and this should be a fairly short video. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the tomatillos I grew this year and just share with you that. Now, this isn't going to be about all the ways you can use tomatillos. I actually have a video that I did last year and talked about a lot of the different ways I have used tomatillos, and so I will link to that up here and in the description box so you can check it out, and I recommend you do. And you may want to go down and read the comments below that, because there's always great people throwing out their ideas on what they like to do with their tomatillos. So if you're like me and you have an abundance of them and you're not sure what to do with them all, I wouldn't say this year I have an abundance. I didn't really last year, but the year before I had so many, it was like I had to come up with a lot of ideas. I did make some salsa out of some of my tomatillos this year, but I have a lot of salsa. So probably what I'm going to do with most of this, what I don't save for seed for next year, I am just going to process it up and then can them, just like I would tomatoes for making sauces and things like that, which yes, you can do. And look at the size of this guy. That's a pretty good size. But anyway, these ones here are the Rio Grande, and I have found they grow excellently for us here in the Pacific Northwest, in the wettest and chilliest part of the Pacific Northwest. So we get an average rainfall of 120 inches a year, which if you look it up online, if you're curious to if you want to compare to the amount of rain that you get, I can pretty much guarantee that we get more. And we likely get anywhere from 4 to 5, maybe even 10 times as much as you do, just to give you an idea. Now, I grew up in central Washington, and where I grew up, we only got, 10 to 12 inches of rain per year. So very, very different climate that we live in here. And so the way things go here, the way the gardens are, the types of things that we grow are going to be very different for most people. On the other hand, if it's something I really want to grow, if it doesn't work the next year, but I really want to grow it, then I'll try it again a few times. And if I can get even one plant, then I'll save the seeds from that. And then usually I can do better. It's like with the marshmallow plant, that was one of them that it took me a few tries to finally get it to grow for me. And now it goes crazy and I have baby plants everywhere. So don't give up as something you really want. Now, anyway, I've been growing the Rio Grande all along, and I got my original seed from Baker Creek, and ever since I bought that pack, I have not needed to buy any more. Now, this past spring, what I did was I didn't even bother starting any from seed. I just allowed them to self-seed, because I found out last year that I got so many plants coming up. I started some in the greenhouse, but then also had a bunch coming up from the year before that I thought, I want to see what happens this year if I just don't plant any, except for the purple ones I decided to try. And I'm going to talk about those in a minute. But I have decided, because we had a real cold, very late summer and didn't really even have summer, that the ones that self-seeded, though I have a lot of tomatillos out there right now. Now we're into the very, very wet part of the year, and they're not getting ripe fast enough, and they're starting to rot on the plants. And so I'm not getting as much as I normally would, even though I'm okay with that, because I have a lot. I have a lot put up. I have not just the salsa, but I have a whole bunch cut up and frozen in the freezer that I didn't work through this last year. So anyway, the Rio Grande has been a really good one for us, and I will be sticking with this, but I'm not afraid to try another variety. This year, because I was real curious about the purple ones, I decided to try them. So they were the only ones I started from seed, and I did get one somewhere. I think I already used it. I think I used it in the last batch of salsa I made. That was bigger than these, but most of them, I mean, look how small they are. And they don't even, the only parts that get purple are the parts that get any light at all. So if they stay covered up by the husk, there's just really there's no purple on them. So I'm not very impressed. And not only were they small, they're very few and far between, very, very sparse on the plant. So these do not do good for me here. not like the Rio Grandes that go crazy. So I won't be growing the purple ones again. And I've talked to other people that have tried growing the purple ones, and they weren't super crazy about them either. They just found they didn't do as great for them. I just thought it would be cool to have another color to see how it would turn out. But I would be interested in trying another variety, but I'm not going to do away with the Rio Grande because they do really well for me. And so this next year, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to plant them only in the front and reserve the section in the back next to the beans for growing calendula and some other things. Because they can kind of take over, and they do need a certain amount of support. Once they get to a certain size and they start getting heavy with the fruit, they start to fall over. And so I need to figure out some kind of fencing or something I can put around them out front. But those ones did best. Now, those ones were all self-seeded from the year before too, and they did better than the ones back here, I believe, because now everything on the south side of the house gets way more light now that we got rid of all the big trees. My point in this video was just to tell you the ones that I've tried. I've only tried 2 varieties so far. I do recommend the Rio Grande. I can't say for certain if you live in a hotter, drier climate than we do, if it will grow better for you. My guess is you could probably grow any kind of tomatillo, but I do know at least here in the Pacific Northwest, in the wettest part, that the Rio Grande does excellent for us, and I don't have to grow them in the greenhouse like I do my tomatoes. So very happy with those. Now, what I'd like to get from you is, if you do grow tomatillos, what variety do you grow? What is your climate like? And which ones do best for you? And also, what about flavor? Have you tried different kinds? Have you compared them? Which ones do you like best? I'd really like to hear from you, because I'm going to consider trying another variety this year along with my Rio Grandes, because I know I can depend on these. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this video and that we can all learn from each other by reading the comments down below. Thanks for watching. Take care, and God bless.